Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Metaphysics Podcast. I'm Dennis.
And I'm Louise. Today we're going to explore how to attract positive energy from the universe.
It's a topic that I feel like is always kind of floating around out there,
It is.
but we're going to try to break it down a little bit beyond just like good vibes only.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us get stuck on that surface level.
Right.
Like, we know we want more positivity, but we don't really know how to make it happen.
Yeah.
So to kind of kick things off, let's talk about this idea of vibrational reality.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how some days just seem to flow really effortlessly, and then other days you feel like you're just like dragging yourself through mud?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of wondered if there's something deeper going on there
Right.
than just like good days and bad days.
Totally.
Like maybe there's some unseen force or something influencing our experiences.
You know what's so fascinating about that is that there's this whole concept of vibrational reality where everything, including our thoughts and emotions, is actually energy vibrating at different frequencies.
Okay, so it's not just like a woo-woo idea. There's actual science behind it.
Yeah, there's a growing body of research that suggests that our thoughts and feelings actually emit measurable energy.
Wow.
And this energy doesn't just stay within us, it interacts with the energy around us, including the energy of the universe.
Okay, so if we're constantly putting out negative vibes, are we essentially attracting more negativity back to us?
Like a boomerang effect.
Well, it's not quite as simple as like a cause and effect thing. Like if I think a negative thought, something bad is going to happen to me.
Right.
It's more about understanding that our dominant emotional state creates a kind of energetic signature that influences the experiences we attract.
That makes sense. So it's like setting the radio dial to a certain station.
Yeah.
You're more likely to pick up signals that are broadcasting on that same frequency.
So if our thoughts and feelings are like radio signals,
Mm.
how do we change the station to one that's playing all the good stuff? You know, the joy, the abundance, all that jazz.
That's where this idea of being in the vortex comes in.
Okay.
It's a term that gets thrown around a lot in these circles.
Right.
But what it really boils down to is aligning your energy with the frequency of your desires.
Okay, so how do we know if we're actually in this vortex?
Yeah, is there like a secret handshake or something?
It's not about joining a club or anything like that.
Got it.
It's about cultivating a specific energetic state.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the vortex, it feels like everything is flowing effortlessly. You feel a sense of clarity, purpose, and excitement about life.
Okay, so it's not necessarily about feeling euphoric all the time, but more about feeling aligned and in sync with what you truly want.
Exactly. It's about feeling a deep sense of peace and knowingness, even amidst challenges.
That makes sense. Now, I'm really curious about this because let's be real life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. So how do we stay aligned with this positive energy when we're dealing with difficult situations or, just experiencing negative emotions in general?
That's where things get really interesting because it's not about suppressing or denying those negative emotions.
Yeah, okay.
It's about acknowledging them, understanding what they're trying to tell us, and then consciously choosing to shift our focus towards something more empowering.
So it's more about managing our energy rather than forcing ourselves to be positive all the time.
Exactly. It's like being the captain of your own ship.
I like that.
You're aware of the winds and the currents, but you also have the power to adjust your sails and steer yourselves toward your desired destination.
I love that analogy. So if we're constantly bombarded with, negative news and just negativity in general, how do we avoid getting swept away by that current?
One of the most powerful tools we have is our attention. Where we focus our attention determines our energetic state. So if you're constantly feeding your mind with negativity, it's going to lower your vibration. But if you make a conscious effort to focus on things that uplift you, inspire you, and bring you joy, you'll naturally start to raise your frequency.
So it's not about ignoring the bad stuff altogether. It's about being mindful of what we're allowing into our mental and emotional space.
Precisely. And it's not about pretending everything is perfect.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we have a choice in how we perceive and respond to the world around us.
That's really empowering. But I am wondering, are there any specific techniques or practices we can use to kind of consciously shift our energy and get into this vortex state more often?
There are tons of techniques out there.
Yeah.
But some of the most effective ones involve working with your imagination and cultivating a deep sense of gratitude.
Hold on. You're saying our imagination can actually influence our reality?
Absolutely. Our imagination is a powerful tool for creating change.
Wow.
When we vividly imagine ourselves experiencing something we desire, we're sending out a powerful energetic signal that begin to attract that experience into our reality.
This is getting good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about this in part 2 of this deep dive.
So, when we were talking about imagination being a powerful tool,
Oh yeah, you mean like daydreaming our way to a better reality?
well, not quite daydreaming. It's more about using our imagination with intention.
Okay, so it's not just about letting our minds wander. It's about directing our thoughts and feelings towards a specific outcome that we want to manifest.
Exactly. It's like creating a mental movie of what you want to experience
Mm-hmm.
and really feeling those emotions as if it were already happening.
Okay.
So instead of dwelling on like what's wrong or what we don't have,
Yeah.
we can use our imagination to focus on what we want to create.
Exactly. And the more we engage in this kind of positive visualization, the more we align our energy with the frequency of our desires.
And that ties back to that whole being in the vortex thing, right? When we're
Yeah.
feeling those positive emotions and aligning with our desires.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected. Our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs all contribute to our overall energetic state.
So if we're feeling stuck or negative, does that mean we're like out of the game?
Not at all. Remember, it's a process.
Right.
We're all constantly shifting in and out of alignment. The key is to become more aware of our energetic state and to develop practices that can help us move back towards a higher vibration.
Okay, so what are some practical things that we can do to raise our vibration and attract more positive energy into our lives?
Well, gratitude is a huge one.
Sure.
When we focus on what we're grateful for, it really shifts our perspective from lack to abundance.
It's like that saying, what you appreciate appreciates.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything major.
Right.
It could be something as simple as appreciating a beautiful sunset or a good cup of coffee.
So just taking a moment to savor those little things can actually make a big difference in our overall energy.
Absolutely. And another powerful practice is to simply be more present.
Okay.
When we're caught up in worries about the past or anxieties about the future, it drains our energy and lowers our vibration.
Right. It's like we're scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
Instead of being grounded in the here and now.
Precisely. And when we bring our attention back to the present moment, we tap into a source of peace and stillness that's always available to us.
Okay. This is making a lot of sense. So we've talked about, using our imagination, cultivating gratitude, being present. Are there any other tools or techniques that can help us attract more positive energy?
Oh, there are so many. But one that I find particularly helpful is surrounding yourself with positive influences.
Oh, you mean like hanging out with happy people,
Right.
listening to uplifting music?
Exactly. The people we spend time with and the information we consume all have an impact on our energy.
So it's about creating an environment that supports our well-being and helps us to stay aligned with that desired reality.
Precisely.
Mm.
And this includes paying attention to our physical environment as well. Clutter and disorganization can actually drain our energy.
So like cleaning up my messy desk could actually raise my vibration.
It could definitely help.
Interesting.
Creating a clean and organized space can create a sense of clarity and peace, which can positively impact your energy.
You know what I'm realizing through all of this is it's not about becoming some kind of positivity guru who's happy all the time.
Right.
It's really about making small conscious choices throughout our day that align with our desire to experience more joy, more abundance, more fulfillment.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's about making those choices from a place of self-love and honoring what truly feels good for us.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to remember that we're all on our own unique journeys.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach to attracting positive energy.
Absolutely. What works for one person may not work for another.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding what resonates with you and incorporating those practices into your life in a way that feels authentic and sustainable.
This has been so eye-opening.
Yeah.
I'm feeling so much more empowered to not only attract positive energy into my life, but also to navigate those inevitable challenges with more awareness and resilience.
Me too. And what's really resonating with me is this idea that attracting positive energy is not about becoming some kind of overly optimistic robot. It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-awareness and honoring the full spectrum of our human experience.
I love that. It's about embracing both the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, knowing that it's all part of this beautiful, messy journey that we call life.
It's interesting. We've been talking about attracting positive energy and all this stuff, but we haven't really touched on what to do when those not so good feelings pop up.
Right. Like, those not so positive feelings.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, life is not always like sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, life throws curveballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do we kind of navigate those challenging moments without completely derailing our positive vibes?
That's a great question, and honestly, it's something a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
The key here is to remember that negative emotions are not the enemy.
Oh, okay.
They're actually really valuable messengers
Okay.
trying to guide us back to alignment.
So instead of trying to, like, shove those feelings down or pretend they're not there, we should actually try to, like, lean into them and understand what they're trying to tell us.
Exactly. When we resist our emotions, we create more resistance.
Okay.
And it blocks the flow of energy.
Right.
But when we acknowledge them and allow ourselves to feel them fully, and then we ask ourselves, what is this feeling trying to teach me? We can gain valuable insights and we can move through the experience more quickly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if we're dealing with a situation that's genuinely difficult or painful? Like, how do we find that silver lining when it feels like everything is just, like, falling apart?
That's where practices like mindfulness and self-compassion become really important.
Okay.
It's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about acknowledging the difficulty of the situation while also offering ourselves kindness and understanding.
So it's like giving ourselves permission to feel those difficult emotions without judgment or, like, self-criticism.
Exactly. And it's also about remembering that even in the midst of challenges, we always have the power to choose our perspective.
Okay.
We can choose to focus on the problem, or we can choose to focus on finding a solution. We can choose to dwell in negativity, or we can choose to look for the lessons and the opportunities for growth.
That's such a powerful reminder.
Yeah.
So it's not about denying the reality of the situation. It's about choosing how we respond to it.
Exactly. And the more we practice this, the more resilient we become. We develop this inner strength that allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with more grace and ease.
This has been such an insightful conversation. I feel so much more empowered to not only attract positive energy into my life, but also, like you were saying, to navigate those inevitable challenges that pop up with more awareness and resilience.
Me too. And you know what's really resonating with me through all this is this idea that attracting positive energy is not about becoming some kind of overly optimistic robot.
Yes.
It's about cultivating a deep sense of self-awareness and honoring the full spectrum of our human experience.
I love that. It's about embracing both the light and the shadow, the joy and the sorrow, knowing that it's all part of this beautiful, messy journey that we call life.
Well said. And on that note, we want to hear from you, our listeners. What resonated with you most from this episode? What are some practices you're going to start incorporating into your life to attract more positive energy into your experience? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. We love hearing from you. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future deep dives, where we'll continue to explore all these fascinating topics that expand our consciousness and empower us to live our best lives.
Until then, keep those vibes high, and remember, you're a powerful creator capable of manifesting a reality that is beyond your wildest dreams.